Republicans are in deep trouble right now, and they are acting like it. Donald Trump is taking away Elon Musk's ability to fire people because he knows how unpopular Doge is. Republicans across the country are canceling their town halls because they know how unpopular they are, and they are trying to hide from their horrible and dangerous agenda because they know it's going to come back to bite them. And with all of that in mind, Democrats are going on the offensive. And if there's one Democrat who is always doing that best, it is Jasmine Crockett, who not only dropped the hammer on Republicans' new budget agenda, but called out Donald Trump to his face in doing so. And I want to check that out. But before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video. And if you haven't already and you enjoy our channel, to hit that subscribe button. It goes a long way, and it really does mean a lot to me. Now let's check out Jasmine Crockett calling out Republicans and Trump right here.
The Democrats are united as it relates to the American people. I want to be clear that this really is not partisan. I know that it looks very partisan, but at the end of the day, we know that the cuts that the Republicans are proposing, that these cuts are not only going to impact Democrats and independents, but Republicans as well. In fact, we know that the Republicans have decided that they don't want to answer to their constituents. They put out official guidance saying, do not go home and do town halls. And so right now, the Democrats are carrying the load for not only our constituency, but for theirs too, because clearly they don't have the answers for their constituents, which the honest to goodness truth is that they don't answer to their constituents. They only have decided that they're going to answer to Elon Musk and Donald Trump.
So this week, we saw the great Congressman Al Green stand up during Trump's joint address to Congress. And he ended up being censured by not only your Republican colleagues, but also 10 of your fellow Democrats. I got to ask, what was there to gain from Democrats siding with Republicans on this issue?
I have no idea. You did not see my photo there. So you know that I absolutely stood with the amazing Texan that I currently serve with. Listen, here's the reality for me. I don't think that really anyone should have decided that they should supplant their own judgment on an 80-year-old black man, especially as we are coming up on, or actually even today, the celebration of Bloody Sunday, or the commemoration, I should say, of Bloody Sunday. It wasn't a celebration for sure. And, you know, this is someone who lived through the civil rights era and saw the dogs and saw the hoses and saw the police bludgeon and bloody people. And so he understands history in a little bit of a different way than probably anybody else or most other people sitting in that chamber. And so to decide that we were going to cast judgment on what he was feeling as the president decided to get up there and lie, as we know he always does, and say that he had a mandate. We know that he did not run on this idea of cutting out Medicaid or cutting Social Security. In fact, every time we said it, the Republicans said that we were lying. Every time we said that they were looking to Project 2025, they said we were lying. And now we know that the liar-in-chief did exactly what he's always done, which is lied. And for whatever reason, the American people did not trust us when we told them exactly what was going to happen. So, you know, I voted, obviously, not to do this to Al Green, not to mention, as we sat there, one of the things that no one is talking about is that Marjorie Taylor Greene was not, she was violating House rules as well. We are not allowed to wear any hats whatsoever, no matter what. Yet she sat there on that same day and she was wearing a hat. She was wearing a MAGA hat, and that was out of decorum. And no one said anything to her.
Well, the hypocrisy abounds. We know that not only Marjorie Taylor Greene, but also Lauren Boebert used to routinely shout out at President Biden during the State of the Union addresses, and they never faced a censure from not only the Democrats, but from their own party. Let's switch gears a little bit because you have been incredibly busy in Washington this week. You're a part of the House Oversight Committee. There was a hearing this week where the mayors of 4 so-called sanctuary cities were grilled. I want to play a very quick bit of something that you definitely had to share during that hearing. Take a listen.
Have any of you been made aware of any immigrant that has had 34 felony convictions that has still been able to roam around in your cities? Anyone?
No, ma'am.
I mean, Congresswoman, it's true. I just talked about the hypocrisy from the GOP. They're so quick to want to round up people on the streets. They don't really even bother to care, if they look brown or black or whatever, it's okay. But in this instance, you do have a 34 felony convicted felon that lives in the Oval Office. If they need the address, I'm happy to give it to them. But what is going on here in terms of trying to kind of exact some type of pressure and a pound of flesh out of these mayors?
Yeah, so first of all, shout out to all the mayors, and I am saying all the mayors. It was definitely interesting to listen to the mayor of New York, but nevertheless, I will say that the mayors as a whole, they really did kind of stand their ground against what they were attempting to do to them. And so I really do applaud them. They were coming up with baseless statistics on crime. And literally they brought the mayor of Boston, Mayor Wu, who is absolutely ranked as the safest large city in the country. And they were trying to lecture her on crime and immigrants. It was absolutely insane. And so that was why I brought out the hypocrisy, and to keep them from trying to come after me and say, oh, I'm engaging in personalities by talking about Trump, I did not mention his name. So I decided that I would work through or around the rules and make sure that I laid out that as they are so outraged by these immigrants and the crime that they're bringing, and not to mention city law enforcement, local law enforcement, they are always going after crime. And they don't say, oh, you committed a murder? Oh, but you're an immigrant? Well, let you go, right? So they are always focused on crime. They continue to say things like the illegals and that they broke the law coming in. But what they're not telling the American people is that it is a civil violation. It is not a criminal violation to enter the country illegally. It's not a criminal. It's a crime. It's not a crime, which is why they're so frustrated, because they really want our local law enforcement to go out and round up people when they could be looking out for the murderers and the sexual abusers as well as the robbers. They want them to go and round people up on civil accusations. And so that's why I wanted to point out, don't give me this fake outrage about criminals roaming our streets when you guys stand 10 toes down for the biggest criminal that we have ever seen go into the White House.
You know, I less than a minute, and Congresswoman, you always have a message, and a strong one, that you deliver. I got lots of people asking, what should we be doing? What should people be doing to be able to manage this kind of flooding of the zone by the Republicans through Trump, of the confusion and the chaos? What should they be doing?
So number one, if it's something stupid like people focusing on my accent and whether or not I went to private school or not, it is a distraction. They are definitely trying to distract you. So anything that sounds stupid, just ignore that. And then pay attention to the other things. But also, we really need someone that wants to be the messenger on a daily basis, who can combat the nonsense and the lies that are coming out of the Oval Office, as well as from the press secretary. But if you are sitting at home and you are frustrated and you're like, what can I do? We've got 3 special elections. If we can flip those special elections, then that means that the Democrats control the House before the midterms. So I am just begging and asking everyone to get engaged with those special elections down in Florida, and then we'll see when the one will be announced in New York. In addition to that, it is so important that we just educate ourselves and we talk to our friends and family, because they are going to trust you before they trust somebody like me who's a politician, because as we know, so many of our politicians are liars. And as of now, a lot of them are criminals.
Always bringing the energy that we need. Of course, Democrats are not going to be bailing out Republicans and their inability to pass a budget if that is actually what happens. Of course, Democrats are going to start going to these deep red districts, reaching out to Republicans, pointing out how Donald Trump has consistently screwed them. If it is veterans, if it is farmers, if it is just people on Medicaid, so many of which are children, Democrats have to message about how Donald Trump is not only failing to live up to his promises, but he is actively betraying them. This is a conscious decision by Donald Trump to make sure that his government is one of the billionaires, by the billionaires, for the billionaires. It's all about the billionaires, and it's not about you. And we see more of that, not just at the national level, but in individual states where Elon Musk is trying to exercise even more of his power, trying to take control of even more races, even more elections, even more seats. And Bernie Sanders, while in Wisconsin, called Elon out for that in a clip right here.
And Musk is so arrogant that he is even intervening in a Supreme Court election right here in the state of Wisconsin. Against a candidate who has the very, very extreme idea that maybe women should be able to control their own bodies, not the government. Now, whatever your view may be on this Supreme Court election, I think what everybody, no matter what your position should be, should make it clear to the wealthiest person on earth that he cannot buy an election here in Wisconsin. And I want you to think about what that means. If this guy can intervene in a Supreme Court election in one state, you tell me what mayor's race, what governor's race, what Senate race he cannot buy. So we have got to deal with this corrupt campaign finance system.
We have talked about this on the show a lot already, and we are going to continue to. And in fact, we will soon be bringing on the chair of the Wisconsin Democratic Party, Ben Wickler, to go into more depth about how Elon Musk is actively trying to buy one of the most important Supreme Court seats in Wisconsin and one of the most important Supreme Court seats in the country. Elon Musk is trying to exercise as much power as he possibly can. He's getting the squeeze from Trump. He's getting pushed out a little bit of the administration. And of course, we're going to be talking a lot about that lately. But in doing so, because of that, he's going to try to exercise his power in more places. He has already told Republicans if they do not live up to Donald Trump's agenda, he is going to primary them. And now he wants to own local and state parties with his millions of dollars. And we have to fight back against how Elon is doing that and support judges who will actually uphold the rule of law, who will fight for American values. And that is Susan Crawford, who I am asking you, if you can, to please support in fighting back against Elon Musk and fighting back against the election of a Republican extremist to that so important Supreme Court seat. If you want to do so, I'm going to have a link below. It goes a long way. And of course, if you want to support this channel as well, you can hit that subscribe button. You can leave a like on this video. And if you stuck around at the end, you can drop a blue heart in the comments. And until next time, I'll see you soon.